What's up, everybody? Joe Brown here. This is Heresy Financial, and today we are going to be talking about the fact that Powell announced a new center called the New York Innovation Center, and this is the center that's going to be doing the research and experimenting on the development to advance the United States financial system, plumbing of the dollar payments networks, and ultimately leading to a central bank digital currency in America. Ready? Let's dive in. All right, I'm not sure exactly why more people aren't talking about this because I think this is big news, but this video by the Federal Reserve, I mean, I know they don't get a lot of views, 377 views, but basically in this video, you can watch it. It's I'll link it below, but he's talking about the introduction of the New York Innovation Center, and this Innovation Center is basically going to be in charge of doing all the research necessary to compile the data, the information, the technology for improving the plumbing of the financial system. One of the biggest things that needs improvement is the speed of international payments. This is one of the reasons why El Salvador moved recently to a dual monetary standard where one of their national currencies is Bitcoin, is so that people can use the Lightning Network to send payments back home to their family in El Salvador without having to go through the dollar payment system, which takes, a massive percentage and takes a very long time. And so people are being able to get their payments from family members outside of the country, much quicker and cheaper. And so it looks like they're trying to work on this to bring up to date the financial system, the dollar payment system. But ultimately, another thing that he mentioned here, which is I think the real focus here, is central bank digital currencies. And Powell has stated in the past that the goal with the dollar is not to be the first with a CBDC. He said it's not about being first, it's about doing it well. And so they're being very thoughtful about this. For those of you who do not know, a CBDC, number one, is not a cryptocurrency. Number two, it is an order of magnitude more intrusive than the current banking system. And here's why. It bypasses the banking system altogether. It removes the banks as the middleman. Right now, you've got an account with your bank. With a CBDC, you would have an account at the Fed. So right now, anybody at your bank can see every transaction that you've ever made, right? Your bank compiles all that information and can use that data for its own purposes. Now, instead of that being decentralized, right, it's better to have 100 tyrants competing for power than one tyrant with it all. Well, that's essentially what you're doing. You're centralizing that power under one entity. They have access to every single transaction, all that data to make decisions about the economy. Number two, not just about the data, but number two, what control they have. Well, they have control over debiting and crediting those accounts just like they do with the current accounts at the Fed, right? They have the ability to credit banks' accounts at the Fed or the Treasury's account at the Fed with reserves so that they can use those for purchases, right? So banks can sell treasuries to the Fed. They get credited reserves in exchange for that. The banks can turn around and do things with those reserves, like lend dollars into existence. And so the Federal Reserve would retain the power to credit and debit all accounts held at the Fed. That means that if they decide a certain wealth level is too much, they would have the power to debit money out of those accounts. If they decide a certain wealth level is not enough, they'd retain the power to credit money to just those accounts. Now, we've seen this implemented before, right? We saw it with the CARES Act and stimulus packages where they send checks out to people as long as your income is below a certain threshold. So this would just dial up the abilities that they have, increase the efficiency of being able to do it so you don't have to go through the IRS. That's another thing. You would streamline taxing because you would be able to dynamically adjust taxes in real time based on transaction data. If you think one area of the economy is getting overheated, they would be able to just simply say, slam a tax on certain transactions immediately. You wouldn't have the cumbersome processes through the IRS that we have right now. And so it increases the power by orders of magnitude beyond what currently exists. And so that is why I think this is such a big deal, because they're actively moving towards researching and not implementing yet, but looking at ways to start to develop these technologies to implement a CBDC, which in my view will be launched on the back of a dollar failure. When the dollar fails finally from whatever happens, It's a matter of when, not if. When everybody stops using it, dumps it, we have hyperinflation. I think on the tail end of that, they will say, look, the dollar failed because the Fed didn't have enough control. Or the dollar failed because the Fed needs to be, there needs to be more accountability under the Treasury through more elected officials, more transparency or visibility or whatever, however they spin it. It'll be, hey, all of these things, we need more power, more control, more data, more information. And so we're going to consolidate all of these financial systems underneath one entity with the launching of a CBDC because the dollar failed because we didn't have enough control or power to do the things that were necessary to do. And the CBDC will be launched on the backs of that. So that's what I expect to happen here. And that's why I think the New York Innovation Center is such a significant launch here. We'll have to wait and see how things play out. As always, really appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.